What is up, film fans? This is Let's Be Real with Brad. Today, we're going to be doing a new segment on the channel called Criterion Movie Reviews. This is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So basically, the gist of it is that I have all these Criterions in my collection that I just don't get the chance to watch because I'm just too busy watching all these new movies. So I figured, what if I did a review series on all the Criterions I have and all the new ones that I'll be getting. And since Wes Anderson's new film The French Dispatch is coming out at some point this year, it's gonna be really loaded and heavy with Wes Anderson because pretty much all of his movies are on Criterion. And so we're gonna start with his first film called Bottle Rocket. Bottle Rocket is considered to be Wes Anderson's worst film, but it's still really good, and it just goes to show how amazing Wes Anderson is as a filmmaker. But what is so interesting about this movie is that it became a cult classic and put Wes Anderson's name in film history and just decided to make all these amazing movies after. In fact, Martin Scorsese actually put Bottle Rocket on his top 10 films of the 1990s on the Siskel and Ebert show. Let's start right with the positives and start with the acting. This film stars Luke Wilson and Owen Wilson in their film debuts. They absolutely carry this movie with just having so much charm, likability, delivering their lines in such a fantastic and well put manner, and they are extremely funny in this movie. But Owen Wilson just takes the cake playing this character of Digman, who is just so memorable to me at this point because he is dynamite in the movie. These two actors are literally in the whole entire movie because this movie doesn't have a big cast and the story is very simple, so we're just focusing on these two guys the entire time, and I thought they did a magnificent job. Sure, this movie literally has no story, as Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson have both said in interviews that they didn't know where to take this movie and they just sort of made it on the fly. But the dialogue is so good. The character moments are so good. Even we got some great emotional moments along with it. I thought that these characters were very well developed for this type of silly comedy movie. This movie is so damn funny, and I really do think that if I were to rewatch this movie again, I do think it would be a comedy classic for me because this movie is very strange to watch for the very first time. And I think knowing exactly what I'm in for, I think I'd be able to enjoy this movie a lot more than I did. I also think the directing is really good by Wes Anderson here. It doesn't have that Wes Anderson symmetrical touch that he has in all of his movies, being one of the best directors working today. But you can see where he started from and seeing how well he was able to shoot this very simplistic looking film and to make it really good looking the entire time. I also think the editing is pretty good with this movie flowing so nicely throughout, and it just makes it a very nice and easy watch because the movie is edited in such a proficient way. So let's dive right into the negatives with this movie, and I do have a few, and I'm just going to start right off with the story. As I was talking about earlier, that I do enjoy that this movie doesn't have a story, and it makes for some great comedic moments and a lot of unpredictable ways of how the story is told. I found that the story just didn't become interesting by the second half. I really like where they took this story and just being at some random motel at one point in the movie, but then it just jumps all the way around and you think the movie's gonna end, but then it just kind of keeps going and going, and then you're just not as interested as you were in the beginning. But as I was mentioning earlier in this review of how Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson were basically writing this movie and the story as it was going along, you really do feel that in this movie because there doesn't feel like a sense of direction. There's a lot of scenes where they're almost just stitched together like a comedy sketch, and it was just based around the scene itself and not part of the overall story. But I think for people watching this for the first time, I think this is going to be a glaring flaw, and it really might turn people off from this movie. Overall, this is a very memorable, lighthearted comedy film that debuts the Wilson brothers and Wes Anderson, and it just shows what you can do with a small budget and with some good solid writing, good acting, and just making for a fun movie. I know I don't really have a lot to say about this movie, but the movie itself doesn't really have much to offer, and I'm going to give Bottle Rocket a 7 out of 10. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop a like on this video, and I will see you all in the following review.